For this activity, we're going to create this floating feather design. To make things easier, what we're going to do is we're going to go get the background and the feather, and we're going to actually save them to the camera roll because it's just a lot easier to do it that way. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to Google Drive. So if you saw me, I swiped up with my finger. It takes a little bit of practice, but you swipe up, and then I go to Google Drive. Once there, I'm going to touch Digital Class. Then I'm going to tap on Textures for my background. And so I'm going to scroll through and find a background, tap it, and then I'm going to hold my finger down and I'm going to save it to the camera roll. I'm going to hit the X at the top left corner, and I'm going to go back to my original screen here, my Digital Class screen, and now I'm going to open up Feathers. And whether you want to draw one feather on here, you're just going to download or make a copy of the whole thing. So I'm going to use this feather. I use these feathers here for the demonstration you just saw, but I'm going to open it up and I'm going to hold my finger down and save it to the camera roll. Okay, now once I've done all of that, I'm going to go back down here and I'm going to choose Procreate. Your other way of doing it is you can double tap the home button and then you'll see the Procreate app. All right, so I'm going to go to my gallery, and from here I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to go all the way down to Square 2 and open that. I adjust it a little bit so that I can see all the surrounding area. I'm going to go up to the wrench and I'm going to insert a photo. I'm going to choose the background I chose, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap those little blue corners there, the little circles, and stretch it out until I have my entire canvas covered. Tap on the arrow again, okay? And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to tap the layers. Tap the layers and add a layer. Once here, I'm going to go back to the wrench over here, and I'm going to choose Add, and then I'm going to choose Insert a Photo. Oops, I hit the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. Tap the feather. Now, it's on a white background, and so what we're going to do is we're going to actually trace this feather. This one I'm going to trace it exactly as it is because it's my feather. I designed it. But if you're using this feather, you may want to change it up a little bit, like maybe remove the dots or maybe add some dots somewhere else. So let's go to the layer, and the layer that the feather is on, we're going to click on the N, the letter N, and we're going to change the opacity. We're going to make it about 50%. That way it's easier to trace. I'm going to go back to that layer. I'm going to choose the blue arrow option there, and I'm going to put my finger on, or let me use my pencil, that little green dot there, and I'm going to turn it to angle the feather the way I want it. And notice I'm touching outside of the box to move it around. I'm not actually touching that box there. So I want to see if I can get this twisted a little bit more. I'm having a hard time with that. Well, that'll have to do. Okay. Once I have it where I want it, I'll untap it. Now I'm going to come, now this is the picture layer, so we don't draw on the picture layer because we're going to get rid of that layer, and if we draw on it, then we're going to be trashing it, so we'll be trashing our drawing. So add a layer, and then choose a color. So for mine, I'm going to choose a brown, and you can usually choose browns by going to the orange area, and then you can see my color changing up here. So I want it to be kind of a dark brown. My brush is going to be Calligraphy Monoline. Calligraphy, and go way up here to Monoline. And then over here, I'm going to set my brush to, I'm going to say about 20%. And I'm going to check it. So I'm going to open up my screen here and see how it is. Okay, it's too small. See, it's too small. So I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm going to go up to about maybe 50%. That's still a little small. Maybe go up a little larger. Okay. And you'll adjust your brush the way you want it to. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to trace around. And squeezing and moving my iPad as I go, or excuse me, my canvas as I go. And I'm going to make this a dip there, come out here, like that, and join it. Okay, and then I'm going to draw this thick line down the center. And what you want to make sure to do is that your lines touch. So what I mean by that is that it touches all the way to here. Because if you don't, then what's going to happen when we do color drop or to fill with color, it's going to fill in the whole area instead of just the area that you want to have it fill. Remember, 2-finger tap will undo what you just did. Okay, and there we go. So now I'm going to take here and I'm going to drop it here. And then go into the other areas that I want the brown to be. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and draw these lines. So notice how I'm twisting and turning the canvas so that it's easier for me to draw. Okay, and I'm closing those lines. So some of the lines I won't close like you see here. Okay, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose white, but maybe, well, no, I'll leave it white. Maybe a little tan, I don't know. Go down just a tad. And then I'm going to come in and color drop. That's the technique that we're using. It's called color dropping into my feather. And remember, if you make a mistake, all you have to do is tap with 2 fingers and that will undo, or you can come over here and tap undo. Okay, so right now I have that done and I can't remember exactly what color brown this is. So I'm going to hold my finger down, okay, and that's called color picking. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to make some dots. And so if you hold your pencil straight up and down, it makes the best dots. And I'm just tapping. And then you can also adjust the size of the dots right here. So I can make some really teeny tiny ones. And now I want some white dots here, so I'm going to color pick white. I'm going to increase the size of my brush. And there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to fix my screen here. And I'm going to go to my layers and I'm going to duplicate this layer here. But first I want to turn and check to make sure I have everything drawn. So what I can do is I can click in this little box and it will turn the drawing layer off. Or I should say the picture layer, not the drawing layer. This is your drawing layer. So it will turn it off, and so I can see that I've got everything drawn the way I want it to be drawn. And then now I'm going to see if I can adjust this feather a little bit more the way I want it. And I'm having problems doing that. So let's try. Yeah, it's just not moving the way I want it to move. So what we can do now is, let's unchoose that. Okay, so now I'm going to come here, I'm going to swipe to the left, and I'm going to choose duplicate. Okay, I'm going to go to the bottom one, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn on Alpha Lock. So I can tap and turn on Alpha Lock, or I can take 2 fingers and swipe and turn on Alpha Lock, and I can see the checkerboard in the background. So I'm going to tap it. Oop, first I want to change my color. Change my color to, I want a darker brown than this. So I'm going to tap here and go down a little darker. Okay, now I'm going to fill that layer, and I'm going to use the arrow here. And now I'm just going to drag that down just a little bit, but we're not finished. And we're going to go back to here, this layer here, and we're going to lower the opacity to about middle, and then we're going to change right here. We're going to roll this down to multiply. And now you can kind of see the background through the drop shadow. Once you're finished with this project is complete. You're going to go to the wrench, okay? You're going to share. We're going to share it as a PNG. You're going to go to Google Drive, tap there, and you may want to name this. You can name it Feather. I just tap it a couple of times, and delete the title, and then I can call it Feather. Okay. Oops, did that go away? Yep, it did. Okay, so anyway, you're going to click Drive after that, and you're going to choose the folder for your age group. So if you are 11 through 14, you're going to tap there. You're going to find your name, and you're going to tap on your name. You're going to click Save here, and then Upload. And that will save it to your folder.